Welcome students to the PIPC1 subject briefing. In this subject briefing, we'll discuss about three things. First, the study guide. This is followed by LMS or the Learning Management System for PIPC1. And then we'll end off with some safety matters. Now, this is the front page of the PIPC1 study guide. Now, by the way, PIPC1 stands for Principles of Inorganic and Physical Chemistry 1. So PIPC1 is the abbreviation of the title of this subject. Alright, first let's look at introduction. Now this study guide is prepared for your understanding of the contents, study plan, and assessment scheme of PIPC1. Under contents, there are 5 parts: the aims of the subject, subject syllabus, teaching plan, reference books, and finally assessment scheme and some ground rules. I will not go through every part with you. For example, the aims of the subject and the subject syllabus, you can read through it yourself. I will go through the teaching plan with you. Before I go through the teaching plan with you, I just want to mention quickly the teaching team. Altogether, there are 16 tutors teaching PIPC1. You will not see all of us in your classes. You may see one particular tutor in your tutorial class, another tutor in your practical class. Okay, let's look at the teaching plan. Now, every semester, there are 2 terms. All right, let's look at term 1 of the teaching plan. If you look at the extreme left-hand side corner, you see a week number. Right? So in term 1, there are 7 weeks. In term 2, there are also 7 weeks. In the next column, you see this word topic. Under topic, we list down all the various topics that you will learn in PIPC1. Altogether, there are 6. For example, topic 1 is called Fundamentals of Chemistry. Topic 2, Chemical Bonding, so on and so forth. Now, the subject content will be delivered to you in 3 ways: by lectures, tutorials, and finally practicals. Let's look at the column e-lecture. When we say e-lecture, that means all you need to do is to stay at home and watch the pre-recorded lectures of the various topics. Alright, for example, topic 1, at home you can use week number 1 to learn the content of topic 1 by watching the e-lectures. And then topic 2, we have given you week 2 and week 3 to learn the contents of topic 2 by watching the various videos. Now next, let's talk about the tutorial. The tutorial lessons are face-to-face lessons. That means you must come to school to attend the tutorials. Now the tutorial will only start in week 3. Next is practicals. Practicals is also face-to-face. Alright, and then practicals will start in week 2. If you look at your timetable, some may have practicals in even weeks. For example, week 2, week 4, week 6, so on and so forth. And then other classes may have practicals in odd weeks. For example, week 3, week 5, week 7, and so on. Alright, so when do you have to come for practicals? Just follow what is written in your timetable. Do your practicals fall on even weeks or on odd weeks? Just follow accordingly. Now in PIPC1, there are several assessments. The first assessment that you will encounter will be in week 6, where we have quiz 1. Quiz 1 is a face-to-face quiz. That means you have to come to school to take the quiz. And then in week 8, you will do the PIPC1 term test. Now let's take a look at the teaching plan of term 2. Right? So after your term test in week 8, you have 2 weeks of break Week 9, week 10, they are called the term break. So in week 11, you come back and continue your learning, right? So under e-lecture, you follow the schedule here to learn the various contents of the various topics. Now in week 11, you come back for tutorial 4.1 and then followed by tutorial 4.2, so on and so forth. In week 14, there is a tutorial 5.2. Now tutorial 5.2, please take note, is an e-tutorial. By e-tutorial means you stay at home and watch the recorded video of tutorial 5.2. So tutorial 5.2, you don't have to come to school. All right. And then after that, in week 15, we'll use the tutorial time slot to do an online quiz, which is your quiz 2. The last tutorial will be in week 17. Now, practical-wise is slightly different. For those who have practicals on even weeks, you have to come back in week 10 to do experiment 4. And then in experiment 5, we'll use this session on experiment 5 to do a practical skill test. All right. And then in week 14, the experiment 6 is an e-lab. E-lab means there is no face-to-face practical. Experiment 6 e-lab, all you need to do is to stay at home and watch the recorded video. All right. And then the last experiment would be experiment 7. In week 18 is your study week. So the study week basically is for you to have self-study and get ready for the final semester exam in week 19. All right, next, let's look at the assessment scheme and ground rules. Now for PIPC1, the total percentage is 100%. Let's look at the breakdown of the different assessment points. Class participation accounts for 10%. The tests, quizzes, lab assignments, and the practical skill test accounts for 50%. And finally, the semester exam accounts for 40%. So 10 plus 50 plus 40 is 100%. This is the grade for PIPC1. I will not go through it. All right, you can study it yourself. So our grade, the highest grade is A, followed by B+, so on and so forth. If you score less than 50%, then you fail the subject. Now let's look at class participation. Punctuality for classes is very important. So you must be punctual for every tutorial. You must be punctual for all the practical classes. All right. So I want to emphasize this right now. Students will be marked as late once they report after the stated start time of the lesson. Both late and absent records will be considered as non-attendance and will count towards the computation of attendance requirement. Now here I want to elaborate a little bit of the maximum non-attendance sessions allowed for this subject. Alright. Now tutorial-wise, there are 10 tutorial lessons, practical 7. 10 plus 7 gives you 17. So you have to attend 17 lessons. Right? So the minimum requirement of attendance is 85%. Alright. 100% minus 85% times 17 sessions is 2.6 sessions. All right. Let's say you miss 3 lessons or more without valid reasons. That means no MC, no leave of absence. Then even if you do very well in all the assessment, you just get a graded pass. So in order to get a grade for this subject, right, you cannot miss more than 2 lessons without valid reasons like MC or leave of absence. Now let's say you are absent for a particular class. Let's say a practical. What should you do? Let's take a look. If you're absent from, for example, a practical with valid reasons, and when we say valid reasons, that means you have a medical certificate or an approved leave of absence or LOA. Then you must obtain the results from your lab partner and then complete the practical report and hand in the report within 2 days upon your return to school. All right. Let's say today is Monday, you have MC today on Monday. All right. That means you must submit the practical report latest by Wednesday. This same rule also apply for any quizzes or tests that you have missed. So you must do the makeup quiz and test within 2 days upon your return to school. Now a little bit on quizzes and assignment. Quizzes and assignments are meant to assess you, your understanding of the content learned, and to provide feedback, right, to the teaching team, right, on how well you're learning. So all the quizzes will be in closed book format. Now from the PIPC1 study guide, let's switch gear a bit and look at the LMS. All right. If you go into the PIPC1 LMS, you see the following. All right. On the left-hand side column, you see a few things. You see the title of the subject, followed by the various items: about, announcement, guides and documents, context, lab safety tests, e-lectures, tutorial worksheets, and practicals. Right? If you click on to about, you'll see the following things. Synopsis basically is a little summary of what this subject is about, followed by the aims. Now, if you click on to the icon announcements, you see the various announcements that we will put over the semester. If you click on to guides and documents, you'll see the following things. First, you can see the study guide. All right, you can download the PIPC1 study guide 2021 April, and then you can refer to it at various points when needed. Right. Next, there will be a guide on using LMS. Then there is also a periodic table that you can download. And finally, the directions from the main entrance of TP to the various labs used for these subjects. Now, if you click on to context, you can see the various emails and office number of the various tutors. Now, earlier on, I mentioned in the teaching plan, the lectures are e-lectures. That means all you need to do is to go to LMS and then click on to the various things to watch the recorded videos of the various topics. All right. For example, topic 1, you can click on to e-learning for topic 1, and then you see the various recorded videos on this topic. In the next slide, I'll show you. All right. And then you can also click on to topic 1, fundamentals of chemistry, to download the lecture notes. All right. So if you click on to the e-lecture of topic 1, you see various recorded videos. All you need to do is to click on to the various video to watch the video at your own pace. Now, after watching the various recorded videos on the LMS itself in various topics, we have also put up different self-check quizzes for you to do. They are simple questions, all related to the recorded videos that you have just watched. This is to enhance your understanding for the various e-lectures. So you can click on to the various icon to do the various self-check quizzes. So if you click on to tutorial worksheets, right, you see altogether the 10 tutorials that we will cover in PIPC1. You can download all of them. And finally, when you click on to practicals, you can see and download the practical manuals that you will use in the practicals of PIPC1. All right, so from the PIPC1 LMS, I will move on to the last item, right? The last item will cover some safety matters. Now, safety is very important. We do not want any of you to get hurt or to be injured in the practical sessions. So you have to strictly adhere to the rules and regulations in the lab. All right. I'll start off by giving you real examples. real examples, accidents that has happened in the past in the laboratory. Right? The first one is concerning the use of a pipette. Right? Let's take a look. Now the student attached a pipette filler to a pipette incorrectly. And when he did that, the pipette broke, and the broken pieces right, poked into the hands of the student, and this require an emergency treatment. All right. So whatever we teach you, follow the rules accordingly, and then all these accidents will not happen. All right. So the next incident I want to share with you is concerning chemical burns. Now, what happened in this incident is as follows. A student attempted to carry too many chemical-containing test tubes. And then along the way, one of them dropped, and then the chemical spilled onto his hand, leading to chemical burns. All right? So you must be careful whenever you handle the various chemicals in the safe and proper way. Now, I want to go through some lab safety rules with you. They are very easy to understand. Number one, do not enter the lab unless you are told by the tutor. Right? Next is common sense. No eating, no drinking. All right? And then next, students have to put on your lab coats once you enter the laboratory. All right? Lab coats must not be worn outside the lab. When not in use, the lab coats are to be kept in a proper bag, like a plastic or Ziploc bags. Next, always work with the proper self-protective attire. So this is a good picture. All right. Let's start from the top. If you have long hair, you must tie it up. All right. And then you must always wear safety goggles. You must put on the lab coat properly, all the buttons properly buttoned up. All right. In the laboratory, we'll provide you with safety gloves so you can handle the chemicals and glassware safely. You must wear long pants or long skirts when you come into the lab. All right. So no shorts will be allowed. All right. So if you turn up that day for your practical in shorts, we'll turn you away, and then we'll mark you as absent. All right. And then shoes, you must wear proper covered shoes with socks. Okay, lab coat, as I say, must be worn properly. All right, you don't act cool and don't button your lab coats. All right, so on the left, you see an unbuttoned lab coat. This is the wrong way. All right, and then you must wear goggles once you're in the lab. All right, regardless whether you're wearing spectacles or not, you must put on your goggles. All right, like I mentioned earlier on, for every practical, when you come into the lab, you must wear proper covered shoes with socks. All right, if you don't wear any socks, certain parts of your feet or leg may be exposed. Now, you need to avoid contact of chemicals with skin. So whenever we give you gloves, you must wear it properly. And also don't fold your lab coat, By folding lab coat, you may be exposing part of your arm to chemicals. Now, in a lab, you must conduct yourself in a responsible manner at all times. Number 6, be prepared for your work in the laboratory. That means before you step into the lab, you should read the lab manual, the procedures for that particular experiment. Number 7, when first entering a lab, do not touch any equipment, chemicals, or materials in the laboratory until we give you instruction to do so. Perform only those experiments authorized by your teacher. Number 9, follow all the written and verbal instructions carefully and never work alone in the laboratory. Okay, number 11, some of your experiments, you may be using volatile chemicals, volatile solvents. If that's the case, you must do your experiments in the fume hood. Number 12, no open flames are allowed in the labs. Number 13, common sense, never taste or smell chemicals. Number 14, dispose of chemical waste as directed by the instructor. And number 15, do not handle your handphone while using your gloves. Your gloves may be contaminated with chemicals already. Number 16, practice good housekeeping. This is important. All work areas should be kept clean and tidy at all times, and also before leaving the laboratory. And finally, keep all glasswares into the drawers at the end of the experiments. Okay, and finally, thank you very much for viewing through the whole subject briefing. I trust that you will have a fruitful learning journey with us in PIPC1.